Well, the time is just gone 8:26 a.m. as we continue with the discussion on this Friday morning and taking a look at the outcome of day one of the BRICS foreign ministers meeting in Cape Town. Now, what does BRICS actually symbolize for South Africa? And also, it comes at a time when there is this huge controversy surrounding the visit of Vladimir Putin, and we know what has happened to the RAND, the West wanting to punish South Africa, and also looking at where BRICS is at this point in time, where what does it symbolize? Looking at the world, and the Russian foreign minister made the statement where he spoke about BRICS symbolizing evolution of a multipolar world. And also a show of strength that all the foreign ministers had actually put on as the Putin arrest warrant looms large. And to unpack all of this, to unpack what has happened on a day one at at the meeting of the foreign ministers. We're going across to be joined by journalists. We are talking with Wardāh Wilkinson. Wardāh, assalamu alaikum, and welcome to the show.
Walaikum salam, and thank you for having me.
Yes, obviously, this conference is absolutely important. It's critical. It comes at a very, very critical time where we've seen so much pressure being put on South Africa as the visit of Vladimir Putin looms in the country. Was this quite evident at at this day one of this meeting?
Yes, it was, and it was clear that certain media houses from the West came with the pure intention of speaking about the arrest warrant on President Putin. And it was also at a point where the minister had just came out to purely inform the media that the conference is still taking place. And she then addressed the media, and the questions were asked immediately. What is South Africa's stance? Does the immunity that was issued, which the government issues with all international conferences, does it imply that they will not be arresting Mr. Putin? And there was also a sense that they were trying to somehow put her on the spot and make her seem to be somewhat biased towards the Russian government. And one journalist actually asked her if her question was fudged. And she was also asked about why she's not speaking about journalists as being attacked uh, by the Russians. And the minister somehow, his message was clear that the South African president will announce that. And I think somehow that was not accepted. Even the evening at the press conference, Al Jazeera posed the question to the Minister of Brazil. And uh, ironically, President Putin was the only discussion, but there was no question about the current situation in Sudan and about the plight of South Africans.
Well, definitely, Warda. But also, I think what is important to understand is the five foreign ministers who had met. Now, these are five countries that represent 43% of the world's population, 16% of world trade, and they've got a larger share of world's GDP than the G7. And we know that there are many other countries, 19 additional countries, are reportedly interested in joining the alliance. So, with all that is playing out in the whole Ukraine affair with Russia, America, and the West against Russia, one cannot ignore how important the BRICS forum is actually, and what it actually means to the world.
Yes, the minister, well, all the ministers from 15 countries, and some of them have applied for new membership, and they have also been invited, and they will be discussing in that meeting today. But what was interesting was that Saudi Arabia and Iran has announced their interest. Um, Foreign Affairs Minister of Saudi Arabia, Faisal bin Fahad Al Saud, was on the sideline in Cape Town. And the fact that these two powerhouses are joining in light of our current situation was pretty interesting. And then also the United Arab Emirates has also made a official request. So there was a lot of confidence from the South African minister. Those who have previously attended a conference would know that she's genuinely very diplomatic, but she came out very firm. And there was also some sense of hope. However, we did not get much questions on that. And I think what's also interesting was that during the conference, there was a protest outside from Ukrainian nationals against this, condemning that the South African government is meeting today, yesterday and today, with the Minister of the Russian Federation.
Yes, and also I think what is interesting that you mentioned the Saudi Arabian delegation is the United Arab Emirates, but also looking at many other countries like Egypt, Algeria, Bangladesh, Kazakhstan, and Indonesia, which also has got a huge population. Now, all of them have actually expressed their interest, and although we've heard our own minister, Dr. Naledi Pandor, saying that the bloc was not quite ready to accept them, but this is something that is going to be on the table, and at some point in time, serious consideration will be given to accept all these new members.
Yes, it is. Especially the major oil producing nations, which is one of the key points that is being highlighted at the conference, particularly for us on the African continent. And at this point in time, there is a lot of talks on accepting new friends of BRICS, as they are currently termed. But there's also somehow a struggle of while trying to promote what BRICS stands for. There is the constant fighting, where the only thing that is being brought up is the current situation in Ukraine.
Yes, Wardāh, we're going to put you on hold. I'm going to go for a quick ad break, and when you come back, there's just one or two more issues that I'd like to actually raise with you. So, if you could bear with me for a few minutes.
Yes.
Rejuvenating media day by day. This is Salam Media.
Online schooling? Why not? Kurtuba Online Academy is the leading global online Islamic school from grade R to matric, offering South African caps and international syllabus. And it doesn't stop there. We also offer online madrasa for every grade. For more information, visit www.kurtubaonline.co.za. Kurtuba Online Academy, the leading global online Islamic school.
Sustain, sacrifice, share. This Eid al-Adha, donate your Qurbani with Africa Muslims Agency. We ensure that your Qurbani not only feeds the poor, but creates sustainable incomes for local farmers, brings the practice of sacrifice to the villages, and shares the spirit of Eid. Sponsor in South Africa for 2,750 Rand. In Africa for 1,750 Rand. In Afghanistan, Palestine, or many other countries around the world. Donate online at africamuslimsagency.co.za. Africa Muslims Agency, empowering, educating, inspiring.
Kids these days are smart, and when you're competing for their attention against their smartphones, you need to make smart choices, like using Sunfoil triple refined pure sunflower oil in every meal you make. It's naturally cholesterol-free and approved by the Heart and Stroke Foundation as part of a balanced eating plan. So whether you're cooking, frying, or baking, you get the great tasting results that'll get their attention faster than the latest app. And if that doesn't work, change the Wi-Fi password. Sunfoil. Now we're cooking.
SANZAF's Meals Distribution Project aims to create food security for those in need. By supporting our program, you can help us in our mission to provide access to nutritious meals on a daily basis and help us extend our reach. Join SANZAF in the fight against hunger by contributing to our food security initiatives. To learn more, visit sanzaf.org.za or call 011 834 6046. SANZAF, changing lives through development and relief.
With so many investment options today, it's only natural that you might feel a little confused which route to take. Should I buy shares or should I invest in gold bullion? Randery Jewelers now brings you the Zahab coin, an alternative to the Kruger Rand. The Zahab coin, a solid wealth protector in its purest form of 24-karat gold, is the safest way to protect your wealth. So don't just sit there and watch your paper money depreciate. Change to gold. Call Randery Jewelers now at 031 202 4701 or visit www.rjcoin.co.za, situated at 151 Essenwood Road, Musgrave, Durban. Randery Jewelers, the family name you can trust. Listen to something fresh. Listen to Salam Media, your humanitarian broadcaster.
At 8:37 a.m., we continue with the broadcast this morning, taking a look at the BRICS foreign ministers meeting in Cape Town ahead of the 15th BRICS summit that will take place. And this is extremely important. This is relevant in the context of what is playing out globally, the question of Russia and Ukraine, the West and the United States of America, their position on Russia and the pressure that is being put on countries like South Africa with regard to our stance towards Russia and what is playing out between Russia and Ukraine. But what is also relevant is the response that we've seen and also the outcome of day one. And present at this conference providing coverage is journalist Wardāh Wilkinson. And we continue. Wardāh, we are welcome back. And as we look at what had actually taken place yesterday, looking at the Russian foreign minister in particular, Sergei Lavrov, where he used the platform to criticize the West for threatening countries with sanctions when they did not side, when we know South Africa has been adopting a neutral stance, but also at the same time talking about BRICS, looking at BRICS as a different structure, saying that it is an organization based on the principles of equality, mutual respect, consensus, non-interference, and strict adherence to the United Nations Charter. Now, this message went extremely loud and clear from the Russian foreign minister, Wardāh.
Yes, it did. And he also emphasized on how the ministers reiterated their commitment to the strength of multilateralism and upholding the international law, including the purpose and the principles of the Charter of the United Nations. And I think pretty clear to show that the BRICS members will not be what simply is termed as being bullied by the West, and therefore also discussions were raised on a potential new currency. And I think this was important, and also the message on the ground in Cape Town here was pretty welcome, because ahead of that there was a lot of pressure on BRICS and especially Russia. And I think the fact that they also recalled the UN, or what you said in the UN National Assembly, the resolution to call on the principles of the United Nations.
Well, definitely. But also, I think what is important is this meeting is taking place ahead of the 15th BRICS summit. And I think we are definitely going to be looking at a different world, considering what the foreign ministers have been saying and the stance that they have been taking at this point in time at this foreign affairs meeting, foreign ministers meeting. So, ahead of the next BRICS summit, I think a lot is actually going to take place, a lot is actually going to change, but also we could possibly see a different world altogether, particularly looking at the hegemony and the power of the West to impose on countries. So this is going to be quite interesting, Wardāh.
Yes, I mean, there was also talks of potential new challenges coming up for these countries. Uh, in the past few months, we've seen the rand drop significantly. In fact, it was in this month because of the allegations of South Africa supplying weapons to Russia. So the minister was pretty clear that South Africa and BRICS is prepared for the new challenges that they are facing, and also the strength of the economic growth. Now we know China is one of the strongest members of the BRICS forum, and India has a very fast economic growth. So that is also something that will need to be looked at. I mean, something that was also raised, which is very interesting, was that the readmission of the Arab Republic to the Arab League, on the 27th of May this year. And BRICS reconfirmed the support to all efforts to conduct it to find a solution in the Middle East and in Syria. So we also need to look at what's potentially happening, because Iran and Saudi were seen very closely, having a very close relationship yesterday. I managed to walk around and I actually saw this conversation, and I spoke to a few of them. And it was really interesting when this Iranian delegation actually told me that we are going to see the rise of the Muslims, and that's all he said. So it could also be with the re-election of President Erdogan, which was not raised yesterday, as he is not a member, Turkey is not a member of BRICS, but there was somehow discussions on this election as well.
Well, certainly, and I think you make some very interesting observations with regard to Iran, and also looking at Turkey and President Erdogan and his election at the third term, and the fact that you speak about the currency and the rand versus the dollar. But BRICS nations are also thinking about a new currency that may offer some protection against these threatening sanctions. So all of that is actually going to play out. So that's why I say this is extremely important in the light of looking at the global order or rebalancing of the global order away from the West. These are all developments that are playing out, Wardāh.
Yes, it is. And South Africa is standing pretty firm on that. China, in fact, they have stated that they will not be bullied. And I think while we might find there's some pretty dark road ahead, it will also somehow help us, because one of the main focuses was the oil countries. Within our own context, I spoke to a few members attending, and then there were also discussions behind closed doors of how the BRICS countries can assist us with our electricity challenge. We know China has a very fast electricity supply, and then there was also off the record discussion of changing to nuclear energy. So it is going to be a very interesting conference, despite the fact that we were experiencing a lot of challenges, and there were also talks of moving the venue to China or Mozambique. But the minister made it pretty clear that the conference will go ahead this year in Pretoria, in Johannesburg, Pretoria.
Well, we can't wait. I believe it's taking place in August, but for now, Wardāh, we thank you. We say shukran to you for your time and unpacking what you have with us on the outcome of day one of the BRICS Foreign Ministers meeting in Cape Town. We wish you all the best. Please take care. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam. Thank you for having me.
Wardāh Wilkinson, journalist, with us this morning, unpacking an extremely important meeting that is taking place in Cape Town. This foreign ministers meeting, and this possibly has got the potential of actually changing the entire world. And as the Russian foreign minister Sergei Lavrov said, BRICS symbolizes evolution of a multipolar world. So. This is going to be, I think, a very critical year for the BRICS countries in particular, but also looking at the interests of many other countries wanting to join BRICS, and how this could possibly change the world, how it could actually change the West, looking at its agenda, looking at its hegemony, and looking at its power and control over the entire world. So we will wait and we will watch this space comes August when the 15th BRICS summit takes place. The time is just gone 8:47. We come back. It's going to be time for Juma Inspirations.